B'tvoch Ashkas Kisavoy. Interesting. And this is Slicha starts tonight in Yetz Hashem. And it's the week for Rosh Hashanah. And all kinds of amazing things taking place. So, B'ezrat Hashem, we will start the week with the story of the Ball Shem Tov. So, we spoke once before about Wolf Kitzis, that one of the big Talmidim of the Ball Shem Tov. He once accompanied the Ball Shem Tov, his Rebbe, when he visited a very simple farmer, a farmer, and this the poor one, and that farmer was, amazed, like, wow, so happy that the Ball Shem Tov came there. So the Ball Shem Tov said to the farmer, listen, I need a donation of 18 rubles for a very important cause. Now, that person did not have that much money, but since the one was asking is the Ball Shem Tov, so the farmer took some of his furniture and the only cow that he had, and he sold them, and he gave the money to Ball Shem Tov. And Zev was watching everything silently, and they said goodbye to the farmer, and they left. A few days later, this farmer had to pay his rent, and he didn't have the money. And the owner, the feudal owner, the way that he used to do things at those times, threw him to the street. We were talking about the Ball Shem Tov went with a Wolf Kitzis. They went to a poor farmer. They asked him for a donation. Ball Shem Tov asking for an 18 ruble donation was way beyond what he had. And that farmer sold some of the furniture and his only cow, and he gave the Ball Shem Tov the money. Sometimes later, the pirates, the one that owned the property, he had to pay the rent, and the poor guy had to pay the rent. He didn't have money, so he threw him out. Since he saw that, listen, he has no future in this little village, he decided to try his luck somewhere else. So he rented a small hut in a village nearby. He sold a few more things, and he managed to buy a cow. And that cow was, in those days, it was the main income source of that people. And he sold the cow's milk and, sustained himself as best as he could. After a while, the cow that belonged to the pirates became sick. And it was impossible to drink that cow's milk. Now, one of the servants of that pirates knew about this new renter that lived there, and he went to him quickly and bought milk for his master. The minute the pirates tasted the milk, he says, that's such an incredible tasting milk. I've never tasted the milk that good. Then tell the owner of this cow that if he will let me be his only customer, I will pay him the best price as possible. Okay, so now this, misfortune that happened to this farmer became his, it changes mazel of this farmer to the good. Every day he brought the milk to the manner of the whatever it is, and he was every day he praised that milk and praised all whatever other products that he had. Started liking him and started asking him eitzes about his business, and slowly started sending him different places. And slowly he began to trust him, blindly, whatever it is that he said. And he had a great appreciation for the service that farmer gave him. And the connection between that feudal order, you want to call it, and the farmer became so deep that since that feudal order didn't have any children, he wrote on the name, he transferred the ownership for all his estate, including that village and all the town that was nearby and all the lands around it, because he felt that the land is going to be in good hands that way. And that lord, he then took a vacation, trusting that his property is going to be taken care of in the best way possible. A few years later, Zelvov came to the village of this new estate owner to collect money for prisoners that were held hostage. Zelvov already collected 300 rubles from the amount the Ball Shem Tov told him to collect. When he came with the Rav of that village, Zelvov says, "Why are you dressed so, big the Shabbos and everything?" So the Rav said, "I'm going together with a group of, the elders of the town to bless the estate owner that is going to bless us today. Why shouldn't you come? He's a Jew, and he'll obviously be very happy to give you, to give money for that purpose that you're giving the money to, that you're collecting for." So Zelvov came to the Rav and the people around him, and the estate owner accepted everybody very warmly, and he paid very close attention to Reb Zev. After a while, that estate owner took Reb Zev and asked, "Don't you remember me?" So Reb Zev couldn't really remember where he saw him first. He's a wealthy person. So that owner of that estate owner took out 300 rubles from his pocket, and he gave him to Rebbe Zev. Only after he came to Baal Shem Tov, Reb Zev understood the entire story. He says that 300 last rubles were given by this village Jew that once we asked from him 18 rubles, and today is a very wealthy man. Now, says the Baal Shem Tov, I will tell you why I asked him such a huge sum, 18 rubles, when he was so poor. He says, I saw that if he will move from from his place to a different place, he'll have mazel. So I had no choice except to force him to leave his apartment, and the rest, you already know. And then the story about Shem Tov, Sichos Haran. And let me just open the Sichos Haran for a second. Let's take a look at the Sichos Haran this week. It's a very deep Sicha, but let's see how it goes. That Sicha is really almost like it's a Torah in and on itself. So let's take a quick look at what's going on here. The fact that they're saying on the Chassan of Milsa de Bichusa, in the Chassidish Chassanas, it is a very common thing that you take a jester, a badchan that says jokes and humorous things and so forth and so on. And before he starts his, what they call his gramen, he says what he says, with rhymes, and he praises the mechutonim and so forth and so on. This is jokes. I remember many years ago that it was the Rebbe Shechasana, and a big Rebbe Shechasana. There was like big Rabbonim, Tzaddikim, and the Badchan. The joke that he said was, there was once Rav Simcha Bunim of Peshischa had a student that was such a jester that every single word that he would say would have been a joke. You couldn't get a straight word out of him. The Hasidim were very worried about him. They went to the Rebbe, and this is what we're going to do about him. What's the story with him? Shows up, Peshischa said to them, listen, we have to wait to the last day. That person's last day on earth, he says, the last day of a person, he's serious. He says, if in the last day he'll become serious, we'll know that all his time he was just, cracking jokes. And it's a big problem. However, if he cracks jokes on the last day, that means that he really meant it all along. Hold on just 1 second. Hold on. Hello? Yeah, I was trying to get in touch with you. Okay. Zoom the recording. All right, let's start the showing again. I apologize for the interruption. Anyhow, so they said, listen, in the last day, we'll see what he does. In years past, and this Jew, came to this last day, and the whole Hare Kadisha was around him, and everybody was in unbelievable tension. What's going to be with him? So at the very, close to the end, one of the members of Hare Kadisha simply couldn't hold himself. And he said to the man, he says, Moshe, let's say his name is Moshe, he says, Moshe, this is the first time that you're passing away. Why don't you make Shechianu? So Moshe said, is because you don't make a Shechianu on a Adama. So I remember all the Rebbes, cracking up, a very sharp, so they understood who he was. So this is what they do on Chasan and Milsa de Bichusa. And before that, they say Allah. That's what Rabbeinu said. This is a hinting that the woman goes up with him, but he doesn't come down with him. This is Allah in the Milsa de Bichusa, that Hainu Oila Imoy, that the woman comes up to the person to all the simcha and toiv and pleasure, but they don't go down. She doesn't go down with him. And there is a halacha that if a person wants to go up to Eretz Yisrael, then the woman has to go with him. But if he wants to go to Chutz La'aretz, she doesn't have to go with him, and so forth. And Rabbeinu is saying here, whatever secret he's saying over here. He says, and the fact that they are covering the color with dektuch, with a badek, what they call it, because the color is alluding to Rachel, and Rachel is the Midas HaMalchus, which the Zohar describes as ulemta shapirta de lesla einin, a beautiful girl that has no eyes. This comes to signifies the fact that the Malchus is Emunah, and Emunah is something that you believe without seeing. So the Malchus is obviously the receptacle. The Emunah is, as we learned in the Kutan, that's the hands with which you receive the shefa, receive the rebuke, or whatever it is that you need to receive. So it calls a beautiful maiden that has no eyes. So that's what the color is, Pchinas Malchus. That's why we cover her eyes in the badek. And it's also a remez on the chizah of kvod elokim asadovo. Anything that's the honor of a Kodesh Baruch Hu has to be hidden. So that's another thing in the customs of the chasana that are referred to, that are happening in the minhagim of the chasana. The second thing is when they throw rice, or they throw whatever the thing on the collar to hint and something that's over here. It's missing. That particular part of the Sicha is missing. And the fact that they throw often on the chassan, this comes to say El Hashem, El Asher Yesh Shama Haruach, Laleches Shama Yelchu Afanu in Yecheskel, in the vision of the chariot. It says that wherever the spirit will go, this is where the Ofanim, which are the angels of Olam Asiyah, will go together with it. The Zohar over there says that there's always a ruach, and the ruach has to do is paired together with either a physical body or malachim olam hazeh. It's like your neshama with your body. Wherever it is that the spirit goes, this is where the body goes. So it has to do with wherever it is that the ruach, the spirit, the neshama will go. Shama yelchu afanim. This is where the ifanim are the specific angels olam hazeh. They're called ofanim, which are actually wheels. Because wheels is, what is a wheel? A wheel is the thing that enables something on earth to move from one place to the other. It's like an interface that allows that which is riding to move. So the same thing, the ruach, wherever the ruach goes, this is where the ofanim will go. The choson is the ruach, and the color is the pchinas ofanim. And that which everybody gives money, they call Shabbos, for those who are dancing. This is for Malchei Tzvakois Yedudun. This is the angels of Hashem that are dancing. That's why they're dancing. Vas bais techalak shalal, and the lady of the house will give out the plunder. They're giving Shabbos geld, as it were, for those who are dancing on the chasana, because the chasana itself is euphemistic of Sinai. It says about Sinai, b'yom chasanose, in the day of his chasana, ze mamad har Sinai. This is much. The Gemara in Tainis says this is what it is. So Sinai is b'gimatria sulam. The letter of Sinai. The numerical value is the same thing as a ladder, like Yaakov Avinu's ladder. You have the angels of Hashem going up and going down. This is Ainu Rikudin, that's the dancing. At the time that the people are dancing, they're going, when you're dancing, you're going up and you're going down. And they're Rikudin, Sha'oiles Gufa, V'yordes Gufa. And that is, and the fact that they call this money Shabbos, because the Rosh Tevis Vas Bais Achalek Shalol is exactly the Oisios Shabbos. Now, then the Chassan also gives a drasha. The Chassan darshans, as Chazal said, B'yom Chasunosoi. I apologize. Was disconnected. Let me just put the screen back again. Then during the chasana, then the chassan is giving a drasha. And this is also alluding to the fact that the chasana is a mini Matan Torah. And obviously, this is what Mama Torah did. They gave the Torah. That's what the chassan, who is a representative of Kodesh Baruch Hu, as it were, is darshans. And the fact they give him money, it's called drasha geshank, is it drasha gifts. This is to allude to that which said about Moshe Rabbeinu, Alisa Lamaron Shavis Hashem, you went up to the Shamayim and you took captives. And that's why taking these gifts and this drasha geshank that they're given to the chassan, and the fact that the chassan actually gives them the drasha is very, very good for zivugim, for people to get married. As they say, Vayishka v'makomai. Yishka v'makomai says about Yaakov Avinu, about lying down, zivugim. And he says, Vayishkav is the word yesh chaf beis, which means that there is 22 letters of the drasha. Every speech is made out of 22 letters. And 22 letters, this is the zivug apostakas. This is the people that are jumping and they're prancing around, they do while they're dancing. And this is Bechinas, it's a deep secret of Anochi Ered Imcha Mitzrayim. Anochi Alcha, I will get down to you to Egypt, and I'll get you up. It's a very deep secret of what's going on here. We are talking about a lot of different inyanim in one shot. Golas Mitzrayim, the exile of Mitzrayim, was for the purpose of cleaning up the problems that the Adam Rishon caused in Gama Bris, when he stepped away from his wife 130 years. And the chasana is the tikkun, that's the yichud abris. Anochi al chagam Allah. I will go with you to Mitzrayim in order to take up all the specks of holiness, sparks of holiness, and I will fix you. I'll get you up, and because this is what it was. In order to, just 1 second, hold on. This is when that drasha that he gives. The entire chasana, in fact, is the tikkun of the Gama Bris that happened to Adam Rishon, the very same thing that, the tikkun of the bris of the chassan himself, and so on and so on. And it's a tikkun of Gama Bris for everybody that is there. That's why they're giving money. And all this is a tikkun for a man and wife coming together. And he says, the fact that whenever it is that the chassan gives the drasha, in the middle, as he starts talking, everybody starts that they're disturbing him. They're not letting him finish. He says the fact that they're stopping the drasha, not letting him finish, this represents the broken luchas. And the fact that the what I don't know, they call the best men, the shashram dresses the kittel, the chassan with the kittel. This is a remez that when Hashem told Yaakov Avinu before he went to Mitzrayim, in order to correct that gam of Adam Rishon, he says, "In Yosef Yoshis Yodo Yalanecha," and Yosef will put his hands over your eyes, because Yosef was the Shushvin. He was the one that enabled the Am Yisrael to do whatever they rectified in Mitzrayim. And the kittel is, is a beged of dead people. That's why we wear this kittel on Yom Kippur. And the fact that the people dance over, like when they're dancing, I don't know if you notice before the chassan that they do all kinds of hoops, and they go over and they go upside down. I don't know even how to call it. And this is in order to allude to Moshe went up. Hashem came down to Har Sinai. So this is why the people turn them over, doing all these kind of tricks. That the lower ones, the one below, went up, and the Elyonim yordu lemata. This is the end of this particular Sicha. There are a few things that this Sicha tells us. First of all, it comes to show you that whatever it is that they're doing, any Jewish custom, especially in the Chasana, every single thing, there are tremendous secrets. There are tremendous secrets in every single thing that is there. So the fact that they're telling jokes, and the fact that they're throwing the rice, and the fact that they're dancing and they're giving money for the dancing, the fact that the chassan gives a drasha and they give money for the drasha, that they're taking the money for the drasha, and the fact that the chassan wears a kittel and the best man puts the kittel on him, and the fact that people do these acrobatic, turning about, comes to tell you about the fact that Kodesh Baruch came down on Har Sinai and Moshe Rabbeinu went up to the Shamayim. Altogether, we see here that the private wedding of a person is really a wedding of Am Yisrael and Kodesh Baruch Hu. This is what is happening. We are standing a week before Rosh Hashanah, a day before Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah is the day where the world is created. That coming together of Am Yisrael with Kadosh Baruch Hu, Am Yisrael comes to the tzaddikim, the creation of the world in the realm of thought. We spoke about it a couple of times before, that there is two opinions in the Gemara of Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yeshua about when the world was created. Rabbi Eliezer says they created on Tishrei, and in Nisan it was created, Chag Aviv, that's the holiday of the spring. Rabbi Yeshua says this is on Nisan, this is when the world was created. Now Arizal says there's really no argument between them. It's just that the world was created b'machshava, the inside, the potential of what is going to be, was created in Tishrei. Nothing is seen yet. That's why it's called Bakesa L'Yom Chagenu. Kesa means covered. There's no Shabbos Mevarchim, we don't mention the Chodesh, we don't mention Rosh Chodesh. We're not saying when Rosh Hashanah is going to be. Many reasons to that, but basically, this is the time of when the world becomes, the Metzias becomes pregnant, as it were, with the world. That's why we say Rosh Hashanah Hayom Haras Olam. There's a day when the world becomes an embryo. And in Nisan, this is when the world is created the Maisa. This is when the fruits are coming up, then the plants are coming up. Everything is happening, in the spring. That comes to denote two separate levels in a person. There is the outside world, the way reality is around you, and there is the inside world. The inside world is the way that you see things inside yourself, the way that you see yourself. It seems to be that there are a whole set of problems with the outside world, how you take care of parnosa and this and that, whatever it is. And there's a whole set of challenges on the inside world that you are inside. Now, the way that you do things in the outside world is you do things in order. When you're building a building, you have to build, first of all, you do the basement, and then on top, and then this, and the walls, and the ceiling, and so forth and so on. That's how you build a building. You can't jump to the end and go back. In the world of machshava, it's exactly the opposite. When you're planning the house, the first thing that you start is with the end. What are you building? What are you building this house for? What's the purpose of this building? It's supposed to be a shopping mall or an apartment building or a villa or what it's going to be. And then once you decide what it is that you want it to be, then you go backwards and you map out whatever steps to be taken. That's why the month of Tishrei, the letters are basically going backwards. Taf is the last word. Shin is the letter, Taf is the last letter. Shin is the letter that comes before it. Reish is the letter that comes before that. And Yud and Kuf basically are the same letter, except one is the 10, one is the 100. So basically, Tishrei is you're going backwards. You're starting at the end, Taf, Shin, Reish, Yud. Aviv starts with Aleph, base, Yud, then in Yud base, it's in 12, it goes Kaseda to tell you that the end, in the Beruchnius comes first, and the Gashmius, it's the beginning that comes first. That's why Rabbeinu says that it's so important to keep one thought clean and pure the entire Shoshana, and be very careful to think only good thoughts. That the year is going to be incredible. This year is going to be unbelievable. The entire Shoshana is going to be a great year. Okay, so what do I do if bad thoughts come to my head? You just push them away. That's it. It's not your job to make sure that those thoughts don't come in. It's your job to make sure that these thoughts don't stay. Just be on the lookout. Just watch out for what you're thinking. When you're done, there comes another thought. Okay, push it out again. You can ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu, please help me. Obviously, that's what you need to do. Help me just think good thoughts. The same thing comes with I would say this give and take between Bitochen and Nishtadlis. Everybody says you have to make a Shtadlis. You have to have Bitochen. These two inyonim are very much like Tishrei and Nisan. The Bitochen is P'chinas Tishrei. There's nothing there yet. Everything happens at the level of Machshava. Ishtadlus is something that happens in, quote unquote, the outside world. Now the question is, everybody has to have bitachon. Everybody needs to do that, some kind of ishtadlus. That's a normal thing. So what's the difference between the, what is the one, what is the other? What makes a person a baal bitachon and one person somebody doesn't have bitachon? It's not whether you do a lot or do a little. There are some people who have gewaldige bitachon that never stop doing. There was incredible tzaddik of a Jew in America by the name of Mike Tress. That was non-stop doing. He was a clean-shaven guy. He's the one that created Tzir Agudas Yisrael in America as a kiruv organization. He built Aguda. He was Makar of Jews. He Lamaisa, he was a wealthy man, and he was a part of a couple of businesses. He ended up basically giving up everything, selling his businesses, taking everything that he owned and gave it to the Klal. In the Second World War, he created, he asks for visa for as many people as he could. And he kept on going to Washington and pressing people and whatever. He had to deal with an immense amount of failure. He wanted to save thousands. He wanted to save millions. He was able to save 2,000 people and 300 rabbanim that he was able to get visas for. And they kept on filling out visas, typewriters. The visa papers, the request for visas papers in America at the time was a single length of paper that was 6 feet long, or that many pages. That to fill another visa request, and another that for 24 hours a day they kept on doing it. Most of them were rejected. To get affidavits, whatever. He was non-stop. When the war ended, he went to the deportation camps. The camps where the refugees from the camps, though, that survived, put them together, so they can get them healthy, whatever it is, and then disperse them to whatever it is they were going to live. And he came there. He was wearing the uniform of UNRWA, United Nations, whatever it is, and he had a place, obviously, to sleep in the hotel because the United Nations arranged it for him, but he chose not to do it, and he slept in the camp together with the deportees, with the refugees, and sleeping on straw on the floor was an experience that he never forgot for as long as he lived. He came back basically a broken man, and he gave everything. He gave his clothes. He came to America. He wasn't, a very well-dressed man and everything. He came back to America without socks. He gave everything away. To ask him, how could you do this? He says, what do you mean? I could get to America and buy myself new clothes. They don't have new clothes. They don't have anything. And he kept on doing and doing and doing. And he passed away at a young age of 57. He had a sick heart. And in fact, when Camp Aguda bought the grounds for Camp Aguda, he made Camp Aguda, Camp Benos, whatever it is, he's the one that started everything. He established another organization. But Kristallnacht, when Kristallnacht happened, it was even before Germany invaded Poland. He already created the first rescue organization because he realized what was coming. So when they bought, he already gave all his money away when they bought the Camp Aguda, the grounds. So the bank wanted collateral, so he put up his life insurance as collateral. And when Aguda defaulted on the payments, they took the life insurance. So when he passed away in 1967, his family was penniless. What a person. that all his life was doing and doing and doing and doing. And there wasn't a single Baal Bitochen bigger than him. Nothing would dissuade him from doing another Jew a favor. Everybody came to his house to live. When he had his business, as any Jew that, at that time, Jews used to be fired for not working on Shabbos. So he would give them jobs in his business or another place. There's a Satmar Jew, it's the opposite of Aguda, that came to him because he was thrown out of his job for not working on Shabbos. And so he asked him, what do you do? What's your job? What's your profession? He says, I'm a glazer. He says, oh, no problem. I know a place. You're going to have a job here. He wrote him a little settle. He says, go to that place and you'll have a job. And that person went to this place and he said, Mike just sent me, he says, he got a job on the spot. And he started getting, a paycheck every week. He got his money, whatever it is. After 2 months of working, the owner of the place where he worked, he says, give a message to Mike Tress that he doesn't have to pay to give me the money for your salary anymore. You have proven yourself to be worthy. I'm going to pay you your salary myself. Mike Tress was paying his salary all along. That's who the man was. Okay? So being a Baal Bitochen doesn't mean that you sit back and you don't do anything. Many times people think that they have Bitochen because they're simply lazy and they're simply despaired. This has nothing to do with it. So what does it have to do with? We're coming to Rosh Hashanah. What are we looking for? The difference between Bitochen and Ishtadlus. The Shefa Eloki, the divine bounty, is endless. The Ishtadlus or the Bitochen are the pipelines that define and limit the flow and brings it down to you. Ishtadlus is a pipeline, and Bitochen is a pipeline. The difference between them is the Ishtadlus is a narrow pipeline. Bitochen is a wide pipeline. Ishtadlus is yochitzonis. When you're making Ishtadlus, you need that person to like you. You need that person to think good thoughts about you. You're afraid maybe if you'll upset them, maybe they won't like you, they won't give you money, they want this, they want whatever it is. It's all Ishtadlus. You're going to ruin your business, you're going to ruin your parnasa, whatever that is. Ishtadlus. Ishtadlus means that you are constantly hanging by a thread. You're constantly in tension. Bitochen means that you are calm and serene all the time. So what makes you Baal Bitochen? Okay, listen, everybody wants to be serene. Everybody wants to be calm. I don't want to be in tension. I don't want to. What does it do? How do you do this? The question is, what are you looking at? Everybody has to work. Everybody has to make Ishtadlus. And everybody's supposed to have Bitochen. Ishtadlus is when you're looking at the means. You're looking at the pipe, at the keli. Bitochen means that you're looking at the shefa. And you realize that you don't deserve it. When a person relies on Ishtadlus, it's because he's prideful. Because to have Bitochen is to realize that you don't deserve. You really don't deserve anything. But you're still getting it. You're getting it because you have Bitochen and Kodesh Baruch Hu. And when you have Bitochen and Kodesh Baruch Hu, it's not befit for Kodesh Baruch Hu not to fulfill whatever it is that you trust Kodesh Baruch Hu to give you. Because you trust him. You trusted him, not because you deserve it. You trust the Melech, or the Melech will, you trusted the Melech, and the Melech will say, no, I won't give it to you. When you go with this kind of hashkafa, knowing I don't deserve to go to Uman, Rosh Hashanah. I have all kinds of obstacles to go. Whatever is happening personally for me with my leg is not over. Rav told me this is what the doctor says, so you're not going, and I'm still looking for Zat Hashem to get to Uman. I know I don't deserve it. So how will I get? I don't know. I don't have a clue. And I'm looking up to Kadosh Baruch Hu because the crunch time of bitachon is if you are willing to look at what it is that scares the heck out of you in the shtadlus mode. You see that you're dealing with this person and you're not behaving, you're laughing to whatever jokes he's saying a little bit louder and so forth and so on. And you want to be free. Look at what your fears are. What's it going to be? What's the worst it can be? What am I afraid of? He'll cut me off. He won't give me money. I'll be missing that one. And you come to Kadosh Baruch Hu and say, Ribono Shel Olam, either I die or you help me. Either I remain out or you bring me in. I don't have the kelim to do that. I don't deserve for you to help me. But I'm coming to you and I'm begging you to help me out. That's all I have. And when you do that, when you really come to the point you realize, I ain't hacking it. I ain't hacking it. It's just up to you, Ribono Shel Olam. If you help me, I'll be helped. And if you don't, there's nothing I can do. It's all up to you. I know I don't deserve it. I'm coming to you only because I remember specifically one year, many years ago. I mean, it's something that happens again and again and again, but I remember years ago when I wanted to go to Uman from America. There was no way I was going to do that. It cost a lot of money at the time to get from America to Uman. The flight alone was, I mean, you have to bring food with you at the time because there was nowhere else to stay, whatever, but it cost like $1,400 just for the flights alone from New York to get all the way to Kiev and back. I didn't have a penny. I remember going this way, going that way, doing this ishtadlus, that ishtadlus, and nothing came out of it. And I remember specifically that moment that I just stood there and I said, Ribono Shel Olam, if you help me, I'll go. And if not, that's it. I can't do any more than that. I've reached the end of the rope. And that, a couple of hours later, I got a phone call from somebody, and 2 days later, I got a check for the exact amount I needed to go to Uman. But it's not like this. It's paying the rent. It's getting a job. It's getting married. When you realize, I can't do this, Ribono Shel Olam, if you help me, I'll be helped. If you decide not to, it's in Hebrew, Allah Chalai. That's it. That's all I have. This is what Rosh Hashanah is about. We do tshuva. We ask for forgiveness, and you come to Rosh Hashanah with closed eyes. Tremendous simcha. We're looking at the shefa. It's going to be a great year. It's going to be a gewaldig year, but not because of us, because of you, Ribono Shel Olam. Because you have this great rachmanis. Because you are the Melech. And I trust the Melech. And if you trust the Melech, it's the honor of the Melech to help you out because you trusted him. So again, I assume that by Monday night we will have Sipurey Ball. I don't have a clue what's going to be with me. Bezat Hashem, I hope Kodesh Baruch Hu should help. I should be in Umar for Rosh Hashanah. I don't know that yet. Kodesh Baruch Hu will tell me Bezat Hashem. And I want to wish each and everybody, and one of you, a tremendous week. And Ksira Chsima Tova, and Agid Gebench Tiyah. Thank you very much for being with me tonight.